Stream is up?
Yep. Hello.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
I am Sway.
I'm Solidify Gaming.
And I am Yoshi Zilla. Bringing some nice 1,000-year door for you all by the SwayNC.
Yeah, I think the run's quite a bit different since the last marathon run. I can't remember if it was the same route. I don't think it was.
Last marathon was... I don't even remember, but it's been a while. There's going to be a lot of changes.
Oh yeah, there's definitely changes to fights.
Oh yeah.
They have interesting strats for that.
Definitely. So I'm sure, Sway, you just give the countdown whenever you're ready and then start.
Okay, yeah. I'm ready anytime. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck, Sway. Just gotta sit through the intro, classic.
Yeah. I guess during this time we can talk about, like, the route in general. So, back in, like, 2013 when the game was still ran, the 80% category was, like, above 7 hours. Like, it was ridiculous. There was, like, little to no glitches in the run. And, throughout many years, more glitches got found to where even the Japanese version started being ran more frequently because of Japanese exclusive glitches. The biggest change so far, well, there's been so many big changes, but the thing that, like, the one trick that made the game super broken was pal skip, which was found back in 2016, and then after that, the run finally got under to sub 3. And then the next holy grail for speedrunning in 1,000-year door was blimp ticket skip, and that got found. How long ago did it get found? Like,
That was, I think the original one was found around a year ago, but that was like,
yeah,
it was
that was
barely doable RTA, and it made any percent a chore. Like, it was just not fun to run. So it kind of didn't have much activity for a while, and then you'll see there's another method that we found, along with a better method for a trick called teleport room early.
Yeah, teleport room early has like 7 different ways to do it.
Yeah.
This one is currently the hardest way, I believe, to do it. Probably, because it does require an angle perfect input and a frame perfect input. But Sway's got a bunch of practice, so he'll get it.
Oh, Sway, do you want to like explain why you're playing on Japanese? Because
Oh yeah.
I will clarify, US is actually faster for any percent right now, even though there were like years where Japanese was faster.
Yeah, it's funny that US is actually faster because of some luck factors and also one trick in prologue. But yeah, go ahead, Sway, if you want to explain why you're playing on the Japanese version.
I'm playing on Japanese because of pal skip.
Basically sums it up.
Yeah, do you want to explain pal skip? Solid.
I won't go into too much detail because we can explain the details later. But
I mean, like the US version.
yeah, so the US version just requires like basically pulling your partner along a seam very slowly for like over 2 minutes just to attempt the trick, and if you fail it, then you gotta restart and do it all again. And there are variations on Japanese that make retrying the trick easier, so this version of the category is more marathon safe.
Yeah. There are a couple differences between the US and Japanese route, but thankfully nothing too big. It's still going to be kind of the same thing. The one thing that's different is in the US, like on the US version, we actually only have the first hammer upgrade. We don't get any of the other hammer upgrades. But in order to do Japanese pal skip, you need the Ultra Hammer upgrade, and we'll explain more in detail how we get the Ultra Hammer and why we need it for pal skip.
Okay, so we're about to get our first partner, Goombella. You'd think that, you know, just that, like, all she does is basically explain to you things throughout the game when you use her. You know, if you go up to like an NPC, it'll tell you about them, and that'll actually come in handy later. She's much more useful than you would think. I won't spoil too much though.
God, I love Toadsworth.
I guess now would be a good time to explain speed swapping since we're going to be doing a lot of movement after this.
Oh yeah.
So you'll notice when Sway moves, he'll be going like up, like away from the screen, and then like kind of cut to the left or right, and that's because when you're moving away or to the screen, it's faster than actually going left and right, because I guess because of the perspective, like they wanted it to feel more fluid. So when you change directions, you have a bit of time to jump, and then that'll preserve that increased speed going left to right. So, and then you can do frame perfect jumps to keep that speed. So that's why you're going to see him jumping everywhere, because it keeps a slightly greater speed, which can be used for some slight optimizations, like in terms of jumping over gaps, but mostly it's just used to speed up movement, and it adds up quite a bit over the run.
Yeah, it is frame perfect, but it's pretty easy to get into the rhythm.
I think it was known about for a while before it started being used in runs, and then now like it's just standard.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think it was known for like a year or two before it just started, before people actually started using it.
So this is Frankly. Do you guys like Frankly? He's gonna be your best friend for a bit. The good thing about this game is prologue is only 10 minutes versus 20 minutes in the first game. So it's pretty fast.
It's also, I guess, it's a bit more interesting.
Also, I guess it's worth noting that I didn't break ST's contact lens yet.
Oh yeah.
I'll be using
yeah.
that cutscene later.
That's definitely one difference that you'd notice if you watched previous runs of this game.
And I don't know if you got past this already because of stream delay, but this is the worst tutorial in the game because if you press A or B, you select to do the tutorial. You have to input up and A on the first text box. It's the worst tutorial in the game.
So this Goomba fight right here, this is one of the differences for US. You can actually skip this on US PAL. When he goes out of the battle, you'll see the platform going back and forth, and for some reason they made it so that on the US and PAL versions of the game, it goes all the way to the right and left, like touching the platforms, whereas on Japanese it only goes like in the middle. So see how it's not actually going to the edge. So, but when it goes to the edge, you can actually like squeeze yourself in between the two platforms and push yourself out of bounds and just climb the steps from below and skip that fight. I think it saves like 40 seconds optimally. Did you get it first try?
Something around. Aw. This is the worst room of prologue because of all the Goombas, and you have to go through it twice.
Oh. I guess we should explain what's happening here now. So that's what we call speed glitch. Basically, if you get reset, if you're... Mario has values for like his motion, and if that gets reset right after you jump, you'll kind of get put into this state where you're like... Some values are showing you're off the ground and some aren't, so you'll be like sped up a bit. I'm not sure why you get sped up, but that speeds it up. So if you basically jump on, I think it's the last 2 frames before you... Or the first 2 frames after the battle, then you will get speed glitch. Because it resets your motion.
So wait, you didn't forget the key.
There are other ways to do speed glitch, but that's kind of a nice one to do when you get into a battle because it kind of saves you back some of the time you lost.
Also, another thing worth noting about speed glitch is that you don't get as much speed on US than PAL.
That's interesting. There's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of differences between US and PAL. There's like a whole list on the speedrun.com site. Oh no, he got cursed. He can turn into
no!
Oh no!
I better not do that again.
Here's the most useless curse. At least for RTA.
Alright, so now it's time to go to the 1,000-year door. Wait, we want to go fast.
Where am I going?
Why are you going back to
Wait, where are you going? Wrong way, man.
Wrong way. Saul, do you want to explain this glitch or Sway? Coming up.
I can take it. So, Sway's actually going to the room where you fight Blooper, and that's because we're gonna get to chapter 1 early. So, essentially, what he's going to be doing is when you enter the room, if you do a frame perfect jump, the first frame you have movement in the room, and then do another frame perfect jump when you hit the ground, you can reach the boat panel, and like basically they set a hazard respawn like object for Mario, and if you
Nice, first try.
Nice. So if you like avoid setting that, which you do by doing frame perfect jumps after entering the room, then you will get sent to the center of the room, and that just so happens to put you just on that the edge of that platform to get to chapter 1. So the reason that you can land on the boat panel there is just because they didn't, like they have designated objects that they have respawn positions for, and they just didn't make one for the boat panel. So
It's funny because there's like a boat panel there's like other boat panels that do like set your spawn there.
yeah, in Japanese in the first room of the game, where you fight Crump, you can actually just like jump down right into the water from the boat panel to like get sent back to the dock.
You are going for bridge skip. I was about to ask that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So a side effect of doing blooper skip is your star power is invisible. You don't get sweet treat, and you also have Frankly. So you guys are gonna be liking Frankly for a while.
Yeah, he's with us for
Quite a few.
portion of the run.
So coming up here is a very risky trick. He took a safety save, so that's good. Called bridge skip. It's basically very similar to the hazard, like using hazard respawn, like the hazard respawn glitch, to warp Mario to the to the center of the room, and it happens to be right in the middle of this water. And with a frame perfect jump, you can make it to the other side,
Wow.
just like that first try. Man, it's always so satisfying to get first try. You will keep falling into that water until you die, so you have to get it. You have like 8 chances to get it before you die. It's basically like hit or miss.
That's one of the few glitches that jump off the water is one of the few glitches that works in Japanese and US, but doesn't work in PAL.
The interesting thing though about the US version is sometimes your jump gets cut off short and you don't make it to the other side.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Or like you're spawned further away. So don't want to jinx
Also-
it, but already off to a good start.
There is a safer version of bridge skip, which Sway could have gone for, but I guess I guess he was feeling risky. You can open like the pipe and then jump on that instead of doing the frame perfect
I don't know
jump
how
he
to
did,
spawn
you
the
know?
pipe without hitting the trigger.
You have to like
Fair
input
enough.
down right, like very, very lightly. But yeah.
Because the trigger, like the object that sets the respawn point, only extends like to in the middle of the pipe.
So conveniently enough, there are some forced fights right here. And, oh, there happens to be a PAL block, so... Sway, how do you think you're going to take care of these enemies?
I don't know.
So many choices.
Yeah.
You can... Oh, I guess you're going to use that PAL block you got.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, they basically force you to use the power block. And these, I mean,
Or,
unless
you know,
want
you
to
just
super guard a
stall
bunch.
and press B.
I wonder how many casual players did not get the PAL block, possibly.
You can
it's
actually
not
skip
going.
these fights also, but you have to like navigate around the seam of the room, and it's TAS only, so like it's just not viable. It only saves like 10 seconds.
For a task, that's great. For RTA, you'll probably lose that time.
You'd easily lose that time.
Oh, you're using a PAL block again?
Oh,
You should have Super Guard.
But how we navigate around the seam of the room to skip those fights is something that will be explained later.
Yeah, definitely. So right here is a thwomp that's going to ask up to 7 questions. Only need to get 5 of them correctly to progress. And thankfully, even though we're on a different version, we're on like the Japanese version, the answers, like at least the number, like where they are, is always the same. So the order for this is always 1, 3, 4, 2, 3.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
and if you miss
Something that
menu and
is-
get a question wrong, 6 and 7, the answers are 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. Something that is interesting though is the second question they answered. It's like something to do with how much like an item is or whatever. It's actually different on the Japanese version. Like the answer displayed is actually different compared to the US version.
Yeah, there are a lot of differences between Japanese and US, but not a lot between US and PAL, if you haven't noticed already.
Yeah. There's not really any PAL exclusive glitches. I think there's like 1.
Well, I mean, there's something they patched in PAL, which I mentioned earlier, but
Yeah.
that, like, there's barely any differences. I think it's just because of the short amount of time between them.
Hey, multi-bounce is nice. Another actually difference between the Japanese and US version, fuzzies are faster on the Japanese version for whatever reason.
They're also
So-
way more chaotic.
Definitely. So, blessed that he doesn't get an encounter. Oh wait, he just did. What the heck?
Oh no.
Oh no. No bueno.
So as you can see, fire flowers are very good in the early game.
Oh yeah. Most of like the early game fights are usually like you use a lot of items, like the first few fights. Then, you know, we're gonna get a badge later known as Power Bounce. That's gonna be useful for a bit.
Yeah, so useful.
Yeah, it's not that useful.
Don't give it away yet.
I can't. What are you guys talking about? Okay.
Yeah, for the people who haven't seen any in this game's any percent category, either recently or at all, the strats are very unconventional for battles
Oh, yeah.
later on in the game. So like,
Yeah, no spoilers.
no spoilers.
So now after getting the Sun and Moonstone, he has to backtrack all the way to where Hooktail flew over at the beginning of the chapter. But it's not that easy. There's a gold fuzzy right there. I guess another like very minor like difference between the Japanese and English or US version is that the text that says you can't flee from this battle, you can actually mash through on the US version, but for whatever reason on the Japanese version you can't.
Yeah, that saves a little bit of time.
And some things are actually non-super guardable on the Japanese version.
Is there anything that you can't super guard on the US version, or is it?
There's some
Every
attacks
attack.
you can't even normally guard.
So it's just those that you can't super guard.
I'm not 100% certain on that.
Okay. Yeah, I just couldn't think of any moves that you couldn't super guard on US.
Yeah, like the big bombs explosions, the dragon bites. Oh, yeah, pretty sure Vivian's fire and Marilyn's lightning. Just some examples.
Yeah, we're just gonna bring back the Sun and Moonstone that we got back to those pedestals that we saw at the start of the chapter. Chapter 1's more of a tame chapter, because it's before we start to break things. So I guess we're getting our second partner, Koops. And Koops, you basically shoot him out, and you can hold him in place to hit things, like enemies, switches. He has lots of... Oh, and you also pick up items with him. You shoot him into an item. So, he has a lot of different uses. And some unconventional uses, which we'll see later.
He will also be used for a pretty big trick.
Yeah, basically every partner we get this run is used for something, like, major.
Huh. Every partner. I wonder how many that is.
Yeah.
Wonder how many more we'll be getting.
Yeah. Man, that's no way to treat your boyfriend.
Koops is going to save his dad, and she's not happy about it, I guess.
Yeah, dang. Koops has a pretty dark backstory. What kind of puzzle do we have here?
Might have to do with something we just obtained.
Really? It is actually, I believe, isn't it possible with tasks to hit both switches without Koops?
Yeah, so you can actually skip. There's a dialogue when you get Koops to say no, and there are some tasks. There have been like a lot of tasks made for this game, and for the people who don't know, Task Malio does like all of them, and I think he's on the 7th one now, doing
7th
like,
or 8th?
tasking it currently. I think it's 7th. I want to say it's 7th or 8th. I'm pretty sure it's 7th. But yeah, so sometimes that's used in the tasks, other times not, depending on the route. And another thing about those switches is they actually exist in the rocks prior to using the stones. So if you could somehow hit both of those in succession before moving the stones, then you could essentially just skip all of that stuff in Chapter 1 that we've done. So that's another, like, kind of theoretical trick that could happen someday. To get to the Hoto Castle. So that was, we just ran into a skeleton that we thought was Koops' dad, but once we actually, do we even read? We don't read the notes, so do they even find out that it's not his dad?
Yeah.
I guess not.
They just assume. It's pretty dark. See, this is the Red Bones fight.
Pretty
Other-
easy.
Yeah, pretty trivial when you have when you use the right items.
And we level up. So.
Yeah,
What
so
do you level up?
Game,
What do
you
we
know
get?
we level up FP. Oh no, I upgraded BP.
What?
What am I gonna...
how are you gonna be hooked now?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, this is the start of the unconventional strats we were talking about. Essentially, we're gonna sandbag in early game to blow through late game. Which it'll make more sense later when it all comes together.
Yeah, right there was a cool little trick called flip skip. Allows you to skip hitting that switch right there, which flips the staircase.
Yeah, surprisingly easy.
Yeah, try it at home.
Also, there was another trick before that where I jumped on that block. I have to skip lowering the purple block.
Yeah, that saves about, what, a second? Oh no, are you gonna make it out in time?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, it's gonna come very
Yeah.
close.
It's gonna be close.
This room is extremely lenient.
Okay, that was close.
Really close.
I don't know how I made it through that.
You have to really sandbag that room. Like, you have to be walking like at slow, like at the half speed, and not make it.
Come on, Sway, you fell for the curse
oh
again.
no.
Again?
Well, I definitely won't fall for it again. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
At least it's a cool curse this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So paper mode is the next curse, and it just allows you to walk through like small gaps like that, the bars. Well, that's meant to be like the only. Oh, I guess you can fall through floor grates too, but there's not very many uses for paper mode outside of a speedrun scenario, but it is extremely useful for tricks you'll see coming up. I guess not too soon, but definitely will be used quite a bit. Okay, I guess I should explain what you did there after the bars. So that's what we call an unspin jump. And so if you release R to go out of paper mode and hit A on the same frame, then you will jump and go out of paper mode at the same time. And that just saves a bit of time there from not having to, because you walk slower when you're unspinning, so if you jump you have the full speed right away, so you save the time of walking slow. That's another thing that has other implications that you will see.
Nice. So you can jump to the window, skipping the second switch. It saves about, at this point actually, it used to save, well, no, it saves 8 seconds, but if you fail it, it wastes like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it used to waste like 30, but then now there's a backup that was found to kind of get back up to the window sooner.
Oh hey, it's Miss Mouse. Hey, Miss Mouse.
By the way, I used Coops to grab a life shroom while riding up the green block. You know, just in case I die. Totally why I got that life shroom.
I mean, what else would you do with a life shroom?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, that encounter is basically really unavoidable. You can avoid it with frame perfect pauses, but it's barely faster if the unpauses are perfect. So like a human will like never save time with it.
Yeah. It's a bunch of pauses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of task-only strats for this game, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out Task Malio.
Yep.
Because
He was a lot of work
he's
into
currently making another any percent task for this game because he's a madman. And he also streams it, so.
Yeah.
So coming up is actually the hardest boss of the run.
That's not even a lie, honestly.
Yeah.
So we found the dragon at the top of the castle.
So we aren't really actually. We're being a little silent because he has to do a lot of bounces.
So yeah, right there, my bounce got capped at 9. That means I hit the action command right, but
Yeah, we aren't actually lying when we say this is the hardest boss.
Yeah, these jumps become frame perfect after you do enough of them.
Yeah, it's the 8th to get to the 9th. It's frame perfect.
and all of them after that are.
Yeah. Oh my god, and so on. So if you ever wondered why you may not be good at power bouncing, that's why.
See, I'll notice he's using honey syrups to get his FP back here. That seems slow, which it is, but
Oh no,
it'll make sense later.
Oh, come on, you're supposed to not trust her.
Yeah. What am I doing? Just took 5 damage. I'm gonna
Reset.
die.
You might as well reset.
Yeah. But it actually is a little bit faster to say yes there. Though if you do say no the first time, I'm pretty sure it's faster to say no the next 2 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it actually is. It's like, it'll like waste a second, I believe.
I love how Hooktail just flops on the ground there.
Yeah.
So good.
And guess what? This is where Koops' father was the entire time.
How he survived, I have no idea.
Yeah, the dead pile of bones down there was actually Colorado. No, I'm just kidding. It was Colorado's dad.
Mm-hmm.
He looks pretty good for a Koopa that's been, like, inside a dragon for however many years.
Yeah. And we have our first crystal star.
First of
many. Question mark?
Question mark?
Yeah, we're getting 7 crystal stars, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, 7's the magic number for everything.
You need 7 to open 1,000 your door. Like, of course we're getting 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right here we have the best part of the run. Runners really love this part. It's the Peach intermissions.
Ah, yes.
But it will be a bit entertaining with, well, you know Frankly's been following us. Oh, hey, Frankly's there with Peach. He's probably on the side with the X-Nauts. He's probably a double
I knew
agent.
he was up to no good.
Frankly's kind of the saving grace for the intermissions, honestly.
Oh, yeah. For people who like a certain other someone, no, you're not seeing him this run.
Some other followers. I love how they just ignore Frankly. It's so good. They just push him around as if he's not there. So here we're introduced to the enemies known as the Shadow Sirens. They're kind of working with the guy here you see, Grotus, and essentially they're trying to collect all the crystal stars as well to open the 1,000-year door. And I won't spoil it for the people who haven't seen the game, but something happens inside the 1,000-year door that will be relevant. Unfortunately, we don't fight the Shadow Sirens in this run. You're supposed to fight them twice, but we we don't see them for some reason.
Yeah.
Now we're being introduced to Tech, the computer who wants to understand human emotion. Tech's kind of your guide in these intermissions, like he just directs you, tells you what needs to be done. And also allows Peach to send emails to Mario. I guess we didn't really mention the email system, but like, I don't know. Sway checked an email earlier in the run, and if you don't do that, it'll just, every time you get an email, it will just keep telling you to check it, and it wastes time. So we just check it when we equip a badge. Frankly's back with Bowser this time. Frankly doesn't pick sides. Frankly's on everyone's side. Also in this scene, you can see on the right wall Bowser with a mustache.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't know why he has a painting of himself with a mustache, but
I guess Bowser doesn't like fried eggs.
Is it faster to say you don't like fried eggs there? Is that why?
I don't know if either option's faster. I just mash A and B. I'm just happened to press B there, I guess.
Why does Cam even ask you about fried eggs there? I forget.
She suggests going on a picnic in Petal Meadows. And that's why Bowser gets mad.
Because of fried eggs.
Nah, everyone's slacking off.
Typical. So now Frankly's back with Mario. Somehow. So Sway just picked up a badge there called Mega Rush. And what it does is when you have 1 HP, you're in a state called Peril. And when you're in Peril and have that badge equipped, it adds 5 to your damage.
Wait, why are you getting the partner one though? We always get Mega Rush.
Oh yeah, that's
Mario.
Mega Rush P. Yeah, that's Mega Rush P. So it applies that damage to the partner if the partner has 1 HP. But yeah, why would Sway be getting that badge?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I guess something we didn't mention. So the estimate is a 310. Let's just say it's definitely not going to be that.
Yeah.
Sway's world record is sub 220.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was recent too.
Yeah, very recent. He's been grinding for a long time to get that.
Yeah, at the time I submitted this, the record was at 229.
I think by the time you submitted this, you were still holding all of the records.
Yeah.
Yeah, your consistency's also improved a ton since the submission.
Yeah.
Because there are some pretty unforgiving tricks that if you fail them for a while, the run can take a lot longer.
Also, I mentioned earlier I didn't break the contact lens in Prologue. We're about to see why.
Yep. I'll let you explain what he's gonna do here, Solid, because you're probably much better at it.
Yeah, so coming up here is a trick called Jump Storage. And what he's going to be doing is, he's going to be, for this specific cutscene, some cutscenes require this, some don't. But he needs to get Koops off screen here, and then use Koops as he enters the cutscene. So if you do that, it will cancel the jump that happens when you use Koops, and also deactivate Koops. So you've essentially stored a flag that is set for these jumps, because these jumps use different values than the normal jump. So they set a flag to stop the parameters for the normal jump being set in order to set the other ones. So the next time Sway does a jump, it will take the parameters for the jump that are already there and use those instead of setting the normal ones. So we can abuse that, and you'll see in a second how he uses
sell
this.
your live stream?
Oh no, I'm good. What if I die?
Oh no. Yeah, the live stream in this route. Oh, sorry, you can go.
I was just saying, so he's buying a bunch of fright masks right here because it's going to be used for Chapter 3. And real quickly, let's see. My people need me. Run, Mario.
Yeah, that takes advantage of steps because they give you Y velocity without any other parameters. So there's no acceleration, nothing else, just velocity going upward. So if we use the stored jump from before, walk up the step, and then jump, it will take that Y velocity and just use it for the jump, and we'll just keep rising until we release A. So that's what we call a super jump. And you can just go up as long as you want.
If you want to really annoy people, say that you stored a super jump off the cutscene. So, I guess something to note, like we were talking about, in the US version, you don't actually need to get the Ultra Hammer. So that's kind of one difference. And I believe right here, Sway is going to be saving.
No, not yet.
Or no. Wait, not yet. Not yet. It's later.
Now I have to go to the 1,000-year door to find out where I'm supposed to go next.
Yeah, this is the first visit to 1,000-year door.
Also, the reason I went up there to get the Ultra Hammer first was to break that block.
Yeah, that saves like a very short amount of time over.
Yeah, I think it was time to save like 1 second.
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
cooler. It's cooler, so
Yeah.
that counts for something.
Something else to note, if you saw Koops was doing this, sometimes partners like to super jump for whatever reason.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
like,
of like the levitate.
yeah. In Japanese, they fail to unset flags like when you go through doors and when the partners like bounce on things, so they can have wonky physics because they just don't behave as they should.
Yeah, notably
When
in the
those
Spike
flags
Room
are-
in Hooktail Castle, Koops will sometimes just levitate up to the ceiling, and then during the escape he just won't walk with you.
Yeah. In the
We
US
call
version,
that
they
Demon Koops.
yeah, because he just stands there, like staring. But yeah, in the US version, they fixed the problems with most of the problems with that because they actually unset the flags that are set when you're doing certain things with partners.
Something that I love coming up here is even though like we have Frankly's following Mario, he's actually outside the house right now. So it kind of looks like he's legitimately been following you this entire time. And the thing that's even better is when Sway exits right here.
Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna save just in case.
Oh, Frankly came out right there.
Yeah, there are actually two Franklys there, but you never see both of them at the same time just because of the way that Frankly walks at the back of the building.
Oh, you're gonna save there?
It might have been better to go into the sewers to do that, but whatever.
Oh, you're doing this. That's right. This is also something that's different.
So yeah, I'll explain this. So
Oh,
this is something we call
find
spin
the
delay.
chests.
So if you're underneath, like you can do this with battles too. It's just it's the same kind of thing as the speed glitch. If you cancel the motion of going into paper mode with a ceiling or a battle or like anything that does that, you
Oh
can
my god.
store the spin while also having properties of not being in paper mode. So you can like do something like use the door there and spin into paper mode while you're going through the door. And because you have the decreased speed from walking in paper mode, you don't go all the way through the door. And so you can utilize that here because when you go through these doors specifically, they deload some of the area, so you can kind of just go through that fence and grab double dip. It doesn't despawn things in all areas, it's like a few areas of the game. But yeah, it just happens to be useful there to get double dip.
Yeah, and right here he's getting into peril with Mario. I believe this is also a different, like...
Yeah, it is. Oh no, I'm gonna die.
Can't believe it.
Okay, I finally came to my senses and got away.
So if you hadn't figured it out, Sway was getting 1 HP off of Gus for a trick coming up.
Why'd you reset?
Oh yeah, oh no, what am I doing?
that actually was a mistake, right? Because we've been faking mistakes, so people might think we're joking again. Oh no, you do reset there, yeah, because of the copying the file.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember if you were supposed to just go or not. So yeah, not a
Yeah, that's
mistake.
if you failed as ST jump storage.
Yeah.
So that copied file is going to be useful for later, because similar to this ST cutscene, we're actually going to store a jump off of this Punio cutscene. So something that really sucks, which I don't know like if it was explained yet, the main reason we have to complete Chapter 1 is so we can actually open Chapter 2, because if you advance past Chapter 2 and you haven't opened it, the flag is like, it doesn't change, so you can't get to Chapter 2 even if you wanted to.
Well, you can get to Chapter 2, the problem is you just can't get back.
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually clip through this wall that opens up here.
Alright, so now
you
we
can't
go to
get out of
Bogly
chapter
Woods, right?
No.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sway, where are you going?
But yeah,
Oh, I just realized I
we
never
could
ate that
go-
mushroom. I should do that for safety.
Oh yeah, definitely. If
Yeah,
we
the
could
whole
actually
reason-
go to... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole reason we do like 10 minutes of gameplay, like at the end of chapter 1, is just to get to that cutscene and open chapter 2.
Yeah, and if we could, like if we could get to chapter 2, we could literally leave once we get paper mode. We leave Hooktail Castle. But what fun would that be?
Yeah, there's still a lot of what ifs for any percent in this game.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe sub 2 RTA will happen. What's the next Holy Grail?
There's a few things that you could call the Holy Grail at this point. Because there's not really any one trick that stands out. There's a bunch of like 10-minute saves.
Alright, and now comes teleport room early, so basically you notice that he's doing a bunch of unspin jumps. Basically if you let go of like Mario's spin and you jump on the same frame, you do the thing called the unspin jump. And what you can do is you can move into a very tiny gap that you're in for like what? Like how many frames or like how many pixels?
Yeah, you have 2 frames to do the jump, and you have to have a perfect angle to get through it.
And they also have to do a frame perfect jump.
Yep. And the reason that you can do this is because when you unspin jump, like your hitbox from paper mode goes back to normal slowly on Mario's sides. So when he does this, there's actually a frame where the hitbox is still essentially the same as paper mode, but you have full speed. So you can utilize that to go through this gap, because if you have the normal paper mode speed, which is slower than like it's kind of like walking speed, it's not the full like normal movement speed. So you can utilize the higher movement to clip.
Yeah, I see Sway also took off his headphones to concentrate while we were talking.
I don't blame him. This trick is pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely hurts the hands as well.
Yeah, because of the frame perfect, or not the frame perfect, the perfect angle. Because holding that on the control stick is not fun.
Not to mention that like every GameCube controller is different.
Yeah.
So it's like the angle could vary based on the controller you have, so you need to kind of hope you have a good controller. Thankfully, there are a bunch of practice codes and a bunch of resources that were made by Zephylus and Piston Miner that help. You got this way. No, you can't hear us.
Yeah, the reverse engineering like on this game has definitely been getting more advanced over the years. Like we're starting to understand more about the game than we did before. Because of
my arm's shaking.
Oh no. Usually Sway can get this pretty quick, so obviously part of it's probably marathon jitters. It's definitely not easy to do this under pressure.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Definitely root for Sway.
Come on, Sway.
You can do it.
Yeah, teleporter room early has a lot of different variations. This is like the earliest one you can do, because there's one where you need flurry, which is a bit longer to get. There's one where you can use tube mode on the US and PAL versions. Like, there's a lot of version exclusive things, a lot of different techniques used to get into this room.
Oh my god.
So in like the 100% category, you have a lot of different options to get in here.
Ooh, his hands are shaking. Do it, Sway.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. You got that 3. You got that 310 estimate.
I don't think he can hear us. But yeah. Yeah, he definitely gave himself like a lot of like definitely a good estimate in case things do go wrong. He'll get it.
I should note that world record gets this trick first try, so Sway's definitely capable of doing this trick fast. It's just, you know, sometimes it's just not your day.
There you go.
Nice.
That took way longer than I would have liked, but it's okay.
Pulled through. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's definitely not. I've definitely seen worse. I've seen people take much longer on that.
Huh. Guys, probably, to be honest, that's probably the hardest trick in the run. Kind of one of them.
One of them, yeah, definitely.
Especially under pressure.
Yeah, like if your hands are shaking, trying to hold that perfect
Oh, I
angle.
saw it.
Yeah.
Drink some water. So, something very interesting. There's a bunch of triggers in this game that advance your sequence, and for whatever reason, reading the red note advances your sequence to Chapter 7.
Yeah, they just have a value that they read for a lot of things to, like, spawn these card keys, for instance, like, just to keep track of where you are in the game. And I guess, I don't know if they had, like, I don't know why they would have the red note set it, because there's just not really a reason that I can see for it, other than maybe testing, but yeah. So it's just extremely lucky that that's there and sets it, because if it wasn't, it would be much more of a pain to get into Chapter 7. And in some categories, like, I don't even think you'd be able to do it in any percent without, like, more resources.
Okay, so since I read that note now, I know what the password is. Oh, that's... Okay, maybe I don't know it. Oh, just a little miss menu.
Maybe it's a good
Not a
thing you
big
read
deal.
the note to remind you. Looks like we have another quiz to do.
And
Usually
just like
these
the
two
first
quizzes.
ones, when the answers are in the same place every time.
Yeah. Usually these quizzes would be very spaced out in the game. Like, this is definitely not toward the like, this is definitely way after Chapter 2. So it's just kind of funny that they come up not too long after each other.
Man, another quiz? I thought we were done with these.
There actually is a way to skip this quiz, but it's kind of task only for any percent, because of the thing you'd have to do is RNG.
There is an RTA method of doing it, but it requires a lot
ultra
more
boots.
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either RNG or ultra boots,
Yep.
which is relevant for a trick that you have to do later, which we'll mention. Do still have to deal with RNG. Unfortunately.
So after all that, we're bored of Chapter 7.
Yeah.
Let's leave.
Yeah. That's enough. We got the card keys, we're good.
Yeah. Alright, so you guys know what's after Chapter 7, right? Or, well, we're not done with Chapter 7, but, what comes next? I'm kind of behind on my counting.
You know, I mean everyone knows that 2 comes after 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because think of it this way: 7 minus 5 is 2, and we have currently
Makes
2
so much sense.
and we have currently 2 partners. Chapter 2. So Chapter 2 is known as the worst chapter in speedrunning for Thousand Year Door, but thankfully 90% we get to skip most of it.
Yeah, you can hardly call it a chapter in any percent.
It's more of a segment.
There's just one purpose for going there.
It's Flurry, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
For
Of
sure.
course. So before anyone gets too excited, no, Flurry is... We skip her. She's...
Flurry is banned.
Yeah, Flurry was needed for a long time until that new version of Theory that you saw was found late last year. So we had to get her for the longest time, but now she's no longer needed because she was only needed for the previously fastest version of Teleporter Merely. Yeah, the peonies
There
are
was a
just,
badge
just
I was
chilling.
gonna get, but I was already committed to the door, so I'm just gonna get that badge on the way out.
I'll try to remind you if you forget.
Yeah. Just in case anyone was wondering what that weird movement by the door, by the tree entrance was. With me second guessing on whether I wanted to go back and get it right there, or just wait.
So yeah, one of the other lucky breaks about this chapter is that there's an item here that we'll be able to get that shouldn't be here. But first, let's see another trick, because
That was
okay,
pretty
so what
much
you saw
perfect.
there, wow, yeah. So what you saw there was a
Jeez.
what we call a Goombella Buffer, and so if you use Goombella, and then 4 frames later move, you can move through loading zones, because her text box won't allow you to enter the loading zone, so you can just keep chaining that to get past it.
Yeah,
So
you have 4
that
frames
allows
to
you to
move.
get past the loading zone out of bounds, and there actually wouldn't really be a way to get out of the room there, but we do something called it's like it's a unspin jump, but with a pause mixed in, so it's a pause unspin jump, and what that does is the pause menu like keeps you close to the wall when you unspin and jump, and you can buffer actions in the menu by hitting the pause button and the button you want the action to be performed on the same frame, while something else is occurring that prevents the action from happening right away. So we buffer that jump in the menu, and then that keeps us close enough to the wall to where we can clip through that sloped ceiling, because
There's one thing
movement's
I
a
want
little
to
bit
show
different.
off.
Oh yeah. So movement's a little bit different in the pause menu and allows you to clip through, and that was needed because the Jabby Hive was still there. So
Oh, you're gonna show
that was
off
Jabby
the,
Hive.
Yeah, a little funny thing, you can actually enter this shop without Flurry.
Hey.
You don't have to do this, I just wanted to show that off because it's funny.
Yeah,
I
there's
didn't get Jabble.
yeah, we actually have ways to view the collision in this game that was like figured out like a couple years ago, and just found a little gap there that you
So
can
something
just
to
fall
note.
down into.
So something to note, getting those super boots does put the game back into a chapter 2 state. So how do we fix it? Well, we advanced it. What chapter's next? It would be 7, right? We'd go back to 7,
Yeah.
right?
You know, I think 6 is after 2.
Right, right.
By the way, Yoshi Jabble wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. Jabble wasn't there. Dang. Rip the dream.
Yeah, the thing about the super boots being there, that's just by chance. There are some chests that just don't stay. Like if you go there post chapter, they will just be opened or gone, and so just that one just happens to be there. Some of them are there, some of them aren't. The scripting system in this game was kind of like so manually done that it's inconsistent. So.
All right, cool. You remembered.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of inconsistencies in this game. Like, you kind of just have to not assume anything and just check everything.
Yeah. And also, if you can't tell, you know, this runs pretty wild. We're you know, we go, you know, from chapter 1 to chapter 7 to chapter 2 to chapter 6.
And all of this is for one reason.
Yes, all this has a purpose.
There is one thing we are working towards with this.
Oh, it's the 6th crystal star.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, that is technically
Something we do have to grab, but
yeah, it's one of the things along the way. So spoilers, we do get another crystal star.
oh, sorry, spoiled it.
But how are we gonna get it? Everyone knows you need the ultra roots for that, right?
What are we gonna do?
You need to ride the train. That's chapter 6.
Yeah.
That's really slow.
It's like really crazy how much the route has just improved since like all these new glitches have been found.
Yeah, like chapter 6 was always thought to be like one. There was a point where we just never did any of it, and we always just thought like, okay, chapter 6 is done. Like we're never gonna see it again. But now it just happens to help save time in this category because of some dumb reason that you'll see.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen here is, if you remember, he copied his save file earlier in the run. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna save now, and something interesting about jump storage is it actually transfers between files. So he's gonna store the jump off of the Puño cutscene, and then he's going to purposely die with Mario, and then he's going to be able to load the file, and he's going to be able to super jump to the top of the Pasha's Sanctum to hit the switch. So it's something very interesting. Like, what's, I guess, like, is there a specific reason, Solid, that it transfers between files?
Oh yeah, I actually figured out this recently. When you go through loading zones, like when the room unloads, there are some properties of Mario that get saved, and there's a byte with a bunch of flags that just happens to get saved when you unload, and in that byte is the jump storage, like the flag for jump storage. So it's one of like 8 flags that get saved through rooms, and because dying is just a room transition and going to the title screen, like they're just all room transitions, so it just saves that, and you can just keep jump storage as long as you want, as long as you don't soft reset or jump.
So unfortunately he didn't get it. I think it was way too early or too late.
I activated the cutscene too early.
The other thing about another difference is on US, there's actually a cutscene on the train, because you can get on the train because you're like you can read the Pasha's Sanctum note to be past the train in the sequence. So if you go back to the train, you can get on it without triggering chapter 6 and doing the whole thing with that. So you can get on the train, and then they're because of, I guess they screwed up changing the email, because they moved the location, and then also when they scripted it, they checked if your sequence was greater than a certain value instead of equal to 1. So you can trigger the email past where you're supposed to in the game and just get jump storage that way instead of having to use another file, so it saves time.
Also, in case anyone noticed that text appearing at the top right of the title screen every time, that was me. Yeah, activating hitting debug mode, which all that does is just, if the game crashes, it brings up a screen. So Solid would be able to explain it better, probably.
Basically just a backtrace screen.
Yeah.
So you can like look up the function that crashed.
Yeah.
And the registers. So it's nice if Sway crashes, we'll know exactly why.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, it just freezes up and you just see the last frame before it crashed, which isn't very useful. That was found like, I forget exactly how long ago. It was like a couple years ago by Piston Miner, one of the reverse engineers.
Yeah.
And to do it, you just press X, B, R, B, Y, L in that order.
Yeah, on the title screen.
And then you hold Z to show that text to verify that you activated it.
Yeah, I think it was found, what, 2018?
I want to say 2018, but I'm not.
I think it was
I'm
20.
not 100% sure.
I think it was 2018 because I remember like one of my runs, I did it and I asked Piston Miner what it was.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. You like forget to do it. Sway is probably the person who uses it the most, like every run. Even in the middle of the run.
Yeah, because like you have to wait a little bit before you can get past the title screen anyway. Like even longer on US.
Yeah. So there just happens to be a step here, so we can use it to do a super jump, just like we did with the Zesty cutscene. Another very fortunate thing for this route.
And I don't remember it was noted, but that Punio cutscene does not need Coops to be far away.
Yeah. There are some. Basically, there's in the script they do two things. There's one, they normalize Mario, which is needed for the trick, and then there's a thing where they deactivate the partner. And some cutscenes deactivate the partner, some don't. So, you know, if you have both, you're good. You can just use Coops into the cutscene, don't have to worry about it being off screen. But if they only have normalized, then you have to have Coops off screen so that Coops' failsafe of being off screen. If a cutscene starts while he's off screen, then he'll just be deactivated if he's being used. So that's needed, because if you don't deactivate Coops, then the second jump will still occur when you bounce on him. So that will cancel the glitch. So you need to have him deactivate and cancel the jump.
We got the 6-second Crystal Star? Which one?
Oh yeah, so this is a cutscene walk, which you can do by just walking in paper mode, and that pipe has a frame like after you get out of it, before the cutscene starts. So you just hold R, you'll go into paper mode automatically. It's pretty nice.
I almost forgot to do that. Like I remembered like at the last second.
Does that save time, like, or is it slower if you miss the unspin jump?
I don't think it saves time.
I mean, I feel like with the unspin jump it might save like half a second, but without it, it probably loses time.
Though when you land from it, you do stall a bit before you can move at normal speed again.
True. Yeah. It might be like the same speed. Still worth it though.
I hope you guys are enjoying Frankly's company.
We'll still have it a bit more.
Yes, we've kind of jumped from the beginning of Peach's story all the way to the end. So we missed out on a lot of things she did throughout the fortress, but that's not important. What's important is just like this cutscene right here. What happens? She gets found out and taken away, and then we'll see her later. Really, we're just seeing the relevant parts of Peach's quest. If you can even call it that. Like, most of the other intermissions are just her gaining intel, really. And helping Tech understand love.
Looks like Peach got caught.
Yep.
Make sure you save, by the way, in the next cutscene.
I saved in that one just in case I do accidentally not save right after this one.
Oh, hi, Luigi.
He's a little late to the party.
All right, place your bets. What time he's going to get here on the timer? What's like the fastest possible time? 1:56 or something?
I'm not sure. Sway will have to tell you.
I'm gonna say 1:54.
I think it's actually a bit faster. Well, I don't think it's been officially timed, but I've heard it's a bit faster to take damage on that first fireball.
Yeah, if you do that, you can get a 155.
Yeah, but it's risky because you're tiny.
Yeah, this is easy. 1:54.
Yep.
Hey.
And if you can get past that one firebar, or without getting hit and without destroying it, you can get a 156, I think.
Oh man.
But I'm not even sure if it's possible on console for the first time. If you die and then do it again, you can do it.
Gotta get that extra disc read. Wait, who is this? Who's this?
Yeah.
What the heck is this? He's a hawk.
Never seen him before.
Yeah.
Alright, cool, you saved. And now, time for Blim Ticket Skip.
Yeah, so this is the whole reason that we beat Chapter 6, was just so that we can get off the train here, and there just happens to be a cutscene to the right of this door that we could use to do another super jump. So we're going to utilize some stuff that we've already seen. We're going to do, an unspin jump through this gap, just like the teleporter room door. It's just a coincidence that they're both doors. Like, these gaps can be anywhere. It's just, for some reason, they're both on the left side of a door. This one's a lot easier though, because it's just, you get into the right position, which you can kind of like wiggle your way into the gap, and then just go straight up and do it. So there's like, yeah, it's a perfect angle, but it's just straight up. So, yeah. So it's a lot quicker to do that. Now we have to get Koops off screen again, because this cutscene doesn't like stop the partner from being used. This one's a bit harder to do because you can't really see Mario.
Please don't go for a gamer jump, by the way.
I don't know, I was kind of thinking about it, but I wasn't actually.
You got time. You got time.
Okay, hopefully I got some storage there.
Yeah, sadly it's like impossible to tell if you got it here. You just have to hope.
You can kind of tell by how long Koops takes to start talking.
Hey.
It took a little bit, but at least I didn't fail it.
So
yeah,
that trick.
Yeah, that gamer jump Yoshi was talking about, you can actually just jump straight to the background instead of to the pipe, but it's risky. Yeah, and it doesn't really save much time, so...
Yeah. Yeah, the background always exists, it's just really thin.
Like, it is doable, but it's usually not worth it.
The old version of that trick that you saw is... what you had to do was you had to get jump storage before getting off the train, so either on the train or like just save and go to another file and get it. And then you had to do this weird like finicky thing with paper mode to walk along the edge of the platform to get out of bounds, because the wall like next to that is just short enough that you can like walk over it doing that, and it was really finicky, and if you failed it you had to go die. So it was not fun.
Yeah.
It would waste a lot of time to fail it, and it was so hard to PB with it that like people would PB by like 5 minutes, even though the trick saves like at least like 20, I think.
Wait a minute.
Also worth noting that the trick is that method was a lot harder on Japanese,
Oh yeah, due to angle
but also
shenanigans.
saved more time on Japanese than it did on USL at the time.
Yeah,
Really?
the route for these games, like for these versions, has been.
I don't know if we actually ended up
Strange.
mentioning this. For the longest time, Japanese and US/PAL were actually split because of how different they were. Now they're back to being just 80%.
Yeah, because they're just kind of the same route they've converged.
Yep.
So you should
By the way, I
explain why
left and
Sway.
re-entered Glitzville. That's because the
Yeah.
first time you enter Glitzville in a post-Chapter 3 state, the guards won't let you in because they're all saying goodbye as you proceed.
Yeah, there's a flag for them to move out of the way that's set only when you leave Glitzville the first time. So you have to leave in order to do it. Like, if you could trigger that cutscene and then like leave the area, you could technically like do it without leaving, but there's no way to do that. So you have to leave and then come all the way back just to set that flag.
Now we get into a pretty annoying RNG section.
Oh yeah, so this is actually the first time. So throughout the entire run, Sway, mostly just had to memorize, like, oh, is it option 1? Is it option 2? Is it option 3? And so on. But this is actually the case where Grubba, or in this case Jolene, gives you a bunch of random conditions, and he actually has to know what that condition is. Thankfully, on the site, there is a list of all the conditions that Grubba can give you, or Jolene. And basically what Sway looks for is certain symbols. So the greatest example is if there's a square, that actually translates into time. So right there, the condition was 3 square. So that means that he has to appeal 3 times. Those are some of the easy ones. Another one for 5 square is you have to take damage 5 times. Most of the number ones are very easy, like 20 means you have to win the battle before taking 20 HP of damage. There's also some like FP, like it says FP right there, so it means don't use FP. But there's a couple harder ones, like don't attack with Mario, don't use hammer, stuff like that, where you do need to memorize the character. But thankfully, Sway has practiced this many times and memorized it all in his head.
Enough to the point that I don't even need to stop. I'll have to read it. Like I don't need
Me-
to stop mashing.
Yeah, as you do the more runs, you memorize it. Like it's just stuck in your head. Like,
Though I did kind of hesitate on that last one, but
yeah. I'm pretty sure, Sway, you could just, not do a run for 5 months and you can still remember the conditions.
yeah, probably.
Wait, so Sway actually doesn't know Japanese?
Yeah, wait, what? Come on, Sway.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
fraud.
That condition was don't swap partners.
Oh, so you actually mashed through all of it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I usually when I do runs, I wait on the 3rd text box just
Yeah,
to
that's
see
what I was
real-
just saying. I don't even
Yeah,
wait
usually-
anymore.
That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go that fast.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, you're saving a good maybe like 2 seconds each time.
Yeah,
So-
that adds up. Like, because there's like what? How many fights? 10?
20.
Or is it less?
I'm sorry, 10. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
you're saying about a good
20
20.
fights overall, but like not for this category.
Yes, there's 10 fights.
Yeah, the
And-
only 10. We have no interest in becoming the champion.
Yeah. Something interesting.
Okay, that was
You're
weird.
supposed to get the Yoshi egg here
20 HP of
randomly,
damage.
but instead you get alright, that was 20, so
Yep.
you win the battle for taking
Easy.
20 HP of damage. But yeah, so we have Frankly for a bit.
Yeah, so if they try to give you another follower, which is the egg, because there's just a failsafe. Whereas if you there's the flags in Chapter 3 are really weird. Like it's not really sequence based like most of the stuff. They have like separate flags for a lot of things, and one of them is like getting the Yoshi egg from outside, which you normally do. You have to go like save the Yoshi egg from the hot dog stand or whatever it is, like on top of the hot dog stand, and then that's when you get the egg. But because we're post Chapter 3, we skip a lot of this stuff. Like we didn't have to sign up to be a fighter. We didn't have to like do a bunch of cutscenes where we see the champion. Like that's why we kind of have to come here post chapter with this route, but it does save like a bunch of time anyway. So we would be doing it. But the reason that we kept Frankly was because if they try to give you another follower while you already have one, you just keep the one you have.
That was no special moves. Like you can tell, like that one. I tell if the first character in the second line looks like a lambda. That's no special moves.
Frank is gonna fight with us. Nice, stylish.
Yeah. Also, one thing worth noting, on the Japanese version, there's a failed stylish for multi-bounce.
There is. Yeah. I actually found that out like recently. I was like, wait, what? There's a failed stylish?
I wish I had done it right there. Sadly, I won't be multi-bouncing anymore. Oops, spoilers.
But come on, you got so many other fights. It's gotta be useful somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, that was don't attack with Mario. Yeah, that condition had 3 lines, and the first one on the second line was like a box, except with the left line removed. That's how I remember that one, at least.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too.
And using a Bright Mask does count as an attack for that condition.
Yeah, what triggers and doesn't trigger a condition can be really weird sometimes.
Yeah, like something interesting is jumping on spikes counts as taking damage, like in the case of taking damage 5 times.
Getting hit by a rock thrown by the audience. It's also
yeah. And super guarding does not actually count as an attack in the case of don't attack for the first 3 turns.
So yeah.
It does actually count if you kill the enemy though with a super guard.
But I didn't think it does. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure it doesn't count.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've killed enemies with super guards with that condition and moved on.
Nice.
Unless I'm misremembering.
I don't know, we'll have to test that later.
I'm killing this Pale Piranha because it only has a 30% chance to run. Plus killing it makes leveling work out better. There's a...
Yeah,
like
the
if you
leveling
don't
is
kill
like
it, you
routed
just have
to
to
a
kill
key.
something else later anyway.
Yeah, the leveling in this game is really tight, so just because of his leveling like affects how fights are chained together because of peril strats usually, so
Well, there is a backup if I do end up over-leveled.
yeah.
See, that condition was don't attack with Mario. So I'm gonna wait a bit. The only other thing I think it could have possibly been was appealed 3 times. Like, I'm pretty sure it was don't attack with Mario. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that they give you like another chance to look at it
Yeah.
when you start the fight.
That was don't attack with partners. I was scared that the one with the ice storm wasn't gonna run.
Yeah, if things don't run, it can be pretty unforgiving.
Yeah.
The 80% run makes Chapter 3 look very, like, uneventful, because all we're doing is just fights. Like, there's a lot of story to Chapter 3 if you've played this casually. So...
And last condition was no special moves.
Nice, so your conditions weren't too bad.
Yeah, they're actually like really good, aside from that first one. Like, actually, yeah, I think the Goomba one was the only bad condition.
What are the ones you usually don't want? Is it like take damage 3 times or whatever?
Take damage 5 times, don't attack the first 3 turns.
Yeah. That's what it is. I always get the 3s and 5 mixed up.
There is don't attack 3 times if you do minor league normally though. But yeah, that's another thing to note. Since we're in a post-Chapter 3 state, we get the major league conditions.
Yeah, that that's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chapter 3 has minor league, which we're in now, and major league, which is the last 10 fights. Which you kind of get a different locker room, but it's like essentially the same thing, just with more conditions. But because we're in a post-Chapter 3 state, you can actually come back to the Glitz Pit and fight again. And during that, you just have all the conditions because you've been here before. But the reason that these events still trigger, even though you're really supposed to be going through the second time at this point, is because of the separate flags thing I mentioned earlier, where it's not connected to the sequence.
Looks like a pretty decent Chapter 3.
Oh, by the way, there were some interesting things to note about that cutscene. For one, you saw...
Oh yeah.
the bomb and the
Joey.
cleft, I forget their names. He's wondering where King K went, even though he was right there.
Yeah, and you have
Also-
Jolene on the screen while
yeah.
she's standing there too.
Did you explain the like the color Yoshi or no?
Oh no, we haven't.
Not yet, no.
I guess I'll explain some of it, and then Saul can go into more detail about it. But basically, your colored Yoshi is actually determined by the in-game time, and it's kind of interesting because so it starts at a specific time. So like once it's at 1:30, for the first like 6 minutes, it will be like green, and the next 3 minutes it will be like red, and so on. But it's just all based on in-game time rather than how long you have them. So I'm pretty sure your in-game time is like probably around 129 or 130. So I'm curious if you're gonna get white or green Yoshi.
Yeah, so because
I
we
don't
skipped
think
the
I am.
usual cutscene where we get Yoshi, or the egg, because when you get the egg, it sets like a time. And
Oh, you
then
got blue
it's the
Yoshi.
difference between
I was
the two.
way off.
So yeah, it sets the difference between the two, but because we never got it normally, it just wasn't set, so it's just 0. So it does like your total game time modulo 20. So basically in a time frame of 20 minutes, you'll have a time frame where you can get each color, and then it loops around. So
Oh yeah, my mistake. It was your in-game time is like 129. That would be like 9 minutes past or something.
Yeah.
so like green's the first one you get, right? So it'd be like, so you said 6 minutes, so it'd be 0 to 6, 20 to 26, 40 to 46, and then it's just so on for the rest of the colors in that 20-minute window. So it's not actually random, but we have actually there actually is code in the game to generate a random Yoshi color, which it seems like they used it during development just for fun, which is kind of funny. Or maybe they plan on using that and then just changed it. I don't know.
So we're done with Chapter 3. Okay, we're done messing around now. Now it's time for Chapter 7.
Yeah.
But first, we're gonna have some setup.
Exactly.
Lots of setup.
Lots of setup.
Which seems slow, but routing around this setup is actually like either really risky or just slower.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you guys see that Yoshiki right there? Just kind of take in mind how small he is. And
Hey, he's got a big heart, okay?
he's got a big heart and big determination. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's ready. He's raring to go.
Mm-hmm.
He is a fighter after all.
No, I thought it was 11 off fire.
Not in this run.
Dang.
Oh, by the way, another note is that cutscene of the blimp coming back to Rogueport is actually way slower on the Japanese version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the cutscene for going to Glitzville is slower too. I think they changed them.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that one.
like for the when it's the first time when you can't skip it.
Blimp's just really slow.
I think they realized how slow it was, and then they were like, "Yeah, we need to speed this up."
Yeah. Just put it in the game, just boom. Oh yeah, is ST still there?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah?
standing there. So yeah, we're actually gonna go to this place called the Trouble Center. It's essentially just a billboard full of like side quests you can do for things. And we're gonna take a guy called Frankie's Trouble. We would have met him at this point, but you know, we've skipped a ton of the game, so we haven't seen him.
Wait, really? I thought it was a casual playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Pianta. He always loses his wedding ring, and in the story he loses his wedding ring, but once again he's lost it. We need to find it again for him.
And he doesn't want to tell his fiance.
Yeah.
The first time his fiance knows. Second time, his fiance does not know.
Yeah, and then he has to say "I love you" 100 times for forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It is a pain to mash in the glitch category, I will say.
Oh, by
Yeah,
the way, I guess
actually,
we never touched on why I picked up a bunch of those badges earlier. This is why.
Yeah,
To sell them.
literally just for
Oh
money.
no, I just sold power belts. How am I gonna
What
finish
the
this
heck?
out?
What are
Dude.
you doing?
Oh yeah, make sure you get Mega Rush from Darlington, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, I bought Power Rush P instead of Power Rush. Oh no.
What?
Dude.
It's almost like you're setting up for your partner to do damage. What?
Wink,
Why would I
wink,
do
nudge,
what-
nudge.
What are you doing?
Yep.
It's almost like there's a saving grace and Darlington's not required in this run at all.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, I was gonna mention because we were talking
finally-
about glitchless. Recently we actually just had a glitchless like category added to the leaderboards, and there actually been quite a bit of runners for that lately. So if you want to see like a more complete run of this game that doesn't have to do like everything, then it's probably the one for you.
Or if you're too intimidated by.
Yeah, it's
the
definitely like a
glitch
good
category?
beginner category for people who want to learn the game as well.
It's also still fun. Like there are still a couple things in
Yeah.
the game that are not considered glitches that you get to do.
Yeah, there
They're
are things
all-
that are like debatable whether they're glitched
Yeah.
or not. So some are allowed, but it's very like small time saves. It's nothing like huge.
All I have to say is don't yell at the runners. They didn't make the category. They didn't come. Well, I mean, some of the runners may have come up with the rules. Don't
I
yell
mean,
at one.
there hasn't really been that much controversy over the rules, surprisingly. So.
You have not seen my stream.
Well, I mean, from runners at least.
Oh, by the way, I got the wedding ring. It's one thing worth noting is that the wedding ring is actually in a different spot on the Japanese version.
There's
Yeah,
some
Frankie has a
funny-
better arm on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty funny lore. Like, what's the lore that you created? It's like he's trying
So,
to get rid of
On the Japanese version, the ring is somehow up on the wall. Where in the US PAL version, it's over by the boxes that Sway jumped on to get on the roof. So we say that on the US PAL version, Frankie has a better arm and he threw the ring further over the wall, and whereas in Japanese it landed on the wall.
Oh yeah, so get ready for a button mashing for a good minute or so.
Yeah, this is probably the like one thing in the run that has been tried countless times to route out in a way that's not like too risky for a category this long. And it's resilient. It does not want to be removed.
Power
Why?
HP.
Oh no, what am I doing? I'm
All right,
ruining
we'll
my run.
If you can't tell, we're setting up Peril for partner. Remember Yoshi? Yeah.
Yeah, so for the longest time, we did the same kind of setup for Mario, but within the last like what 6 months, not even like, we kind of tried to route a bit differently and ended up figuring out a strat for Yoshi in Peril that is actually very OP. It's crazy what you can do with this, and a lot of little things that we did throughout the run have been to set up for this. So you'll see it all come together, mostly in the next, like the end of the next 2 chapters.
I don't know why, but
Time to
something
save
so.
all.
Oh, go ahead.
Because there's a trick coming up that I could potentially soft lock on. Like, it really shouldn't happen, but you know,
Just in
always
case.
want to
Just
be
in...
safe.
Actually, I'm trying to think what trick you're referring to. Oh wait, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, I had to think of it for a second because like I don't think
forgot.
I can't remember the last time I saw someone soft lock there.
Yeah. Like, it rarely happens.
There's
Now,
another.
now that I've said that, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Except now that I saved, it won't.
True.
I don't know why, by the way, I was going to mention, there's something so satisfying about being able to equip every badge like,
Oh, yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, another thing about this route that's nice is that because we don't level up FP, because part of the reason that the strat's so good is because it doesn't actually really require FP. So we can just level up BP and HP and make things a lot safer and just get more badges. It's nice.
I remember it was so funny because, oh yeah, right here, Sway's also going to, he's going to flutter to the titles because they're going to actually go faster here. And there's actually only 2 tiles in the Japanese version.
Yeah, I think they
You can
realized
get
it was
that
a bit
same
hard.
effect by just topping on or off Yoshi while you're on them.
Yeah. And he's also
That's what
going to
most
be,
things do.
yeah, this is another way to actually get jump storage. It's basically by collecting an item and trying to get on Yoshi at the same time. And like, what exactly happens, Solid? you're better.
Yeah, so Yoshi's jumps are similar to Koops in that they set the flag for jump storage to be able to, not have the jump parameters set. So if you have Yoshi be on his way to you while you grab the item, it will just stop the jump from happening, and when you close the item text, it'll just like cancel the jump while also deactivating Yoshi. So it just gives you jump storage. Like, it's a pretty big window too. It's like a 4-frame window, I think, to do it. So that's a nice one.
And right here, you can just levitate all up here. And the reason why he can potentially soft block is if he falls in that switch, like where that switch is.
Yeah, the
there's
pit with the
no way to
switch.
get out.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but if you get in there, I mean, there might be a way to get out, but if there is, it's not easy. And it would be better to just reset and like load your save file.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dumb way to soft block. Sadly, it's happened to me.
Yeah, Yoshi's just generally better for getting jump storage, if you couldn't tell. He can be used in like all the same places as Koops and much more, just because he has 2 jumps that set the flag instead of 1, so you have different scenarios you can use it in. And so like both the jumps that set the flag can be used on like cutscenes. You can use it on an item. You can also get it off of a spring. Like, Yoshi's just really versatile for getting jump storage. So once we have Yoshi, we can do a lot.
Speaking of Yoshi being powerful, you're about to see it demonstrate in this fight.
Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention is that if you don't hit the conveyor belt switch, there is a chance the game can crash when entering this room, unless you do stuff to prevent it. Like
Yeah, in this case, he
entering
entered the shop.
entering West Side goods and leaving prevents that. Though if you buy more than one item there, you have to enter and then leave again to prevent it.
Yeah, it's because when you try to enter Grotus's room, it tries to remove the sound for the conveyor belt, and there's like a global value that's used in scripts that if it's set to a certain value when you go through that door, it can crash. But going into the shop will set it to 0, which shouldn't crash, so you can use that to stop it.
Power of point swap. Yoshi's in peril.
Yeah, point swap
And,
is...
Yeah. And Yoshi's ground pound does not cost any FP, by the way.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It was so funny, like, when this was first discovered, because, like, I remember joining, like a call, and then the first thing Solidified Gaming said to me was like, guess what, Yoshi's OP.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I remember it
kinda are.
was... What?
I was just
What'd
making
you
sure Yoshi's kind of OP.
Yeah.
I'm referring to you, Yoshi.
Oh, you're saying I'm OP? Yes, I am OP. Bow down. No, I'm just kidding. Now it's a Sway's run. Anyways, this is the 7th Crystal Star, and it's not even 2 hours into the run? Man, this is a really fast casual playthrough.
Yeah.
Wait, say second or third? Because this is the third.
That's the 3rd. I went 7th, sorry.
I said 7th because
Oh, did you? Okay,
normally
yeah.
it's the 7th one you get.
I thought maybe you said second because you forgot. Because chapter 6 is easy to forget because it's just like really short. Yeah, the 7th Crystal Star is probably the most required one when it comes to like theory crafting this game, because it's the only way to open the 1,000-year door is to be at the right sequence to open it, and there's not really much leeway in terms of getting to that point other than getting the star and doing these intermissions. So like that is probably going to be the hardest one to skip if we ever are trying to do that. But
And before
the other two are fair game.
And before anyone says, "Hey,
Let's just
why don't
look
you
past the
clip
1,000-year door."
Yeah, why don't you
You're
clip
too late,
behind the wall and go to the 1,000-year door?"
I already
No.
said it, you were too late.
Dang.
But yeah, the loading zone isn't there unless your story sequence is in the right spot.
Dang, I'm too slow. Oh dang, my stream is behind by a lot.
Oh.
I have 2 streams open. I have your stream and then this Pace stream open. So I guess quick note, you can either say that you're the evil King Bowser, which is the first option, and that's the slowest. You can say that you're Bowser, it's like what, the Shadow Thief or something, or you can say you're Koopa Koot. Not Koopa Koot.
It is Koopa Koot.
Wrong game. Wrong game. Kroop.
Now the option is Koopa Koot, I think.
Oh, it is Koopa Koot.
Nice.
So thankfully, there's not much left to go.
Yeah.
You think Chapter 8's gonna be long? Wait, Sway. How are you gonna beat Chapter 8? You need like all of your partners. You
Yeah.
need like all the abilities.
I'm missing so much stuff. What am I gonna do?
Surely there's not a really big glitch that you can do.
Yeah,
Surely.
surely.
And how you gonna skip that? It's just some hallways.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, this run's been going really well so far.
Yeah.
Like everything's been, but like biggest I guess time loss was TRE. But that's definitely like you still played well, even with your
Yeah.
hands shaking.
That's expected. TRE can kill a run.
Even then,
Easily.
you only took like 4 minutes on it. That's pretty decent. I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah, that's not actually too bad, all things considered.
Yeah, RNG was pretty good in Chapter 3. We still have RNG in Chapter 8 coming up later. But for the most part, this run's kind of smooth sailing, I want to say.
I did also fail a jump storage for getting to the Garnet Star.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also, F in the chat for tech.
Yeah.
I mean, we only saw him for like what, 2 minutes total. Didn't really have much time to make a connection there.
Yeah.
Did you mention, very small detail, did you mention about his lens being a different color already?
Oh no,
Oh,
we didn't
that-
mention
I
that.
don't think anyone ever mentioned that.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, the Japanese version, only his lens is red instead of blue. I don't know why they changed it, but they did.
It's because of the Space Odyssey, like the movie, because of HAL. What is it, HAL 9000 or whatever?
Hmm.
Because I think it was newish movie at the time. So it was kind of like they kind of wanted to make it more friendly, I think, and just made it blue.
Yeah. There's another thing I know they removed in the PAL version, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Yeah, there are a lot of subtle differences between versions that you'd really only notice if you just played them all a bunch.
Sway knows every rune of this game. He knows every dialogue.
Sure I do.
I mean, I'm sure you know, like, every rune.
So he has very specialized knowledge in this game. Like, I'll ask him about stuff that I do not expect him to know the answer to, and he'll just tell me. I'll be like, okay,
Oh,
how
no.
did you know that?
Oh no, did you?
Aw, walk of
Aw.
shame.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Walk
go
of
for the
shame.
you're not gonna go for the floor panel one.
Nah, I don't feel like dealing with the 50-50.
So basically, he was trying to get jump storage off of that email, and you could super jump because he needs to go to Dazzle. But if you miss it, you have to take the Walk of Shame all the way around to Dazzle. And
Yeah.
you may have noticed he's been collecting a couple Star Pieces throughout the run. And the reason for that is he needs to get Item Hog. Because, you know, maybe sometime in the future of this run, he can get an item drop that will be useful.
Yeah, without
Yeah.
item hog, this getting an item is a very low chance.
Quick
it's like,
note.
what, 1 in 25 or something.
Yeah. Quick note that the main reason that world record runs on US is also because of item hog chance. Because on Japanese, the item hog chance it's what, around 21%?
Yeah, on
And-
average, it's like 21%.
Yeah, and on the US version, for whatever reason, it's like, what, 45 or something? 40,
Something
Yeah, it's
45?
like doubled. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
So you get an item from an enemy much easier, but
But it's way harder.
yeah, they're just their advantages and disadvantages
Yeah.
to each version. You kind of have to just weigh them and pick your poison, really.
Yeah. So, you know, despite collecting only 3 crystal stars, look at that, Sway.
Yeah.
You got all 7.
Yeah, look at that.
What,
There they
when'd, you
are.
get, when'd you get the other 4?
I don't know. Yeah, this whole run's
We
just
just
been a
snagged
blur to
them.
me.
Frankly
I
got
don't
them.
even
Say that
remember where
again?
those other 4 came from.
Frankly was getting them while he was with Peach and Bowser.
Oh, yep. Okay, that. I guess that
He
explains
stole
it.
them. He was pickpocketing, yeah. Master thief.
And with all 7 crystal stars, the 1,000-year door can be open.
So I should note that we could enter the 1,000-year door a lot sooner than we are right now, but we need Yoshi
Yeah.
for more than just battles. There is a specific reason that we needed to get Yoshi.
Yeah.
That you will see. And it's the reason that we're able to get to the end of the game without going through several chapters.
Yep. If we didn't need Yoshi, oh, that would save so much time.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that is the Holy Grail. You asked what it was earlier, that's it.
Yeah.
like doing the trick that it will be coming up without Yoshi would save a
What,
lot
like a
of time.
half hour?
Oh, well over a half hour, yeah.
Like 40 minutes.
Like, assuming that it's using stuff we already have and don't have to go out
Yeah.
of the way for other things.
I was gonna say.
So coming up here is a pretty, I guess, I mean, kind of minor, kind of major. Like if you get all three of them, it adds up. Something called gold can skip. Basically, you can right here actually run between the bullet bills by lining up correctly, and then if you walk in a certain way in paper mode, you can squeeze right between the two gold bill blasters.
Nice.
So there's one. You can get two more times, and it saves 10 seconds every time he gets it.
I was surprised that one worked.
You can go for the jump or the hover. Nice, you did the jump.
Yeah, so that's a really easy hazard respawn glitch that you can do there. Because the trigger's very small. For some reason, they
Yeah.
just made it tiny. Like, you
Oh.
don't even hit it when you enter the room, which usually is the case.
Ooh.
So we
it's
don't
not
actually have
interesting.
two mode here.
Yeah.
To get past the fire bars, so we're going to be using
Oh,
a
what?
kind of odd mechanic to get past these.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Be careful.
And if I get to
There
1
you
HP, I have a backup.
So Yoshi, if you want to explain the rest of this.
Yeah, so basically, by using invincibility frames, he can just literally walk through all the way to the end, right here.
Yeah, this is one of the few like things you can walk through with like the invincibility frames. There aren't very many like things that works on. It's very weird.
Wait, do you not get into Peril with Coops here?
Now that's only on US and PAL.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason for that is because on the Japanese version you don't heal after chapters, so Yoshi's
That's
still in
right.
peril.
That's actually it seems like that's a bug because
Yeah.
they only heal you after chapter 1 and the rest of the chapters don't heal you, and the scripts are like there's stuff in there that suggests that you should be healing but you don't. So actually I think I found out more recently that if you don't have a partner after the chapter then it does heal you. So they just screwed it up.
Dang. Oh man, level up. 100 star points. What are you gonna level up this time?
Leveling
HP?
HP.
What the heck?
Might be
Don't
new to
you
you
use
if you're
the
watching
apparel?
a speedrun this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And now, he's gonna be going for 2 more bullet bills. Alright.
Well, I never
gold
go for
can
this
skip.
one.
Oh yeah, this one's I guess a bit. Eh.
But I got first choked by a bombshell bill anyway, so I'm just gonna use the iframes to get past.
Yeah. There's one more he can get right here.
Yeah.
Was a good attempt. Got at least one.
There's actually an easier version of gold cannon skips that you can do if you have the ultra boots. Obviously we don't have them, so we have to do it this way. But those like little torches on the wall, you can actually stand on those. So if you do a spring jump below them using the ultra boots, you'll like fly up and then land on the torch, and you can just walk to the right and go past them. It's pretty funny.
So, coming up, this is what the entire run is built up towards. It is Palace Skip. Not gonna get into too much detail yet until like we get there, but Palace Skip was the trick that changed the entirety of Thousand Year Door. Before Palace Skip was found, the run was still like above 4 hours. It was like what, 4:12 I believe was the best time.
Something like that.
And Palace Skip was searched for about 3 years, and it was found because it was found to be possible, or kind of I guess known because of an action replay code to levitate over, and the loading zone beneath. Basically, after you complete the Royal Tower, the stairs drop, and you go to a lower part of the palace, and the loading zone, which is in the room right before Gloomtail, still exists, as well as a spring. So basically, for about 3 years, a bunch of glitch hunters, including Solidified Gaming, like Really Tall, and like a bunch of other people, they were trying to find a way to actually get underneath into the loading zone legitimately. And funny enough, it was found to go, for the longest time, we could not get out of bounds. But getting out of bounds was found on April 1st of 2016. Not even a joke. It was very funny that was found on April 1st.
And then it was also
April 3rd is when it actually got found.
Yeah, and then it was the task-only method. And then about a month later, we found essentially the version you'll be seeing here, but there are improvements that have been made to make the trick more bearable. But there's still one factor of the trick as a pain, in any percent at least, because there are multiple methods to do this, and that is the item drop.
Yep.
So you essentially just have to keep resetting until you get an item drop from these embers, and it's like a 1 in 5 chance in Japanese, so sadly your run can die to the item drop.
Oh yeah, you make it all this way to see how long.
Oh,
Ooh,
good start.
Good start. So when he's holding an item, what, like a 30% chance?
Yeah, I think it's like 33, so like 1 in 3.
First try.
Nice.
Nice. All right.
That's really good. So once you get the item, there are ways to do this trick. Even though you need an item, you don't actually have to like use it up in the sense, so you can keep redoing the trick in Japanese. In US, you do actually have to use up the item because of differences, which I'll explain when we get to them. So first, he's going to do something called tech storage, which involves getting Goombella far enough away from Mario to where she does a different action if there's a wall between her and Mario, or if she's far enough away. In this case, we don't have a wall, so we're getting her far enough away, and then she has to come towards Mario before opening the text. And during that time, you can still do things like grab an item. And because the item and Goombella being activated share the flag to stop like battles and other things, when you close the item text, it sets that flag to 0, and then you can still enter a battle with her text up. You can't move still, but once the battle completes, it deactivates your partner, so it'll deactivate Goombella with the text still up, and then you'll be able to move because of that. So that's what he's trying to do here, is he's trying to use Goombella as he moves into the item with her far away. And then...
Yeah, isn't it like, is it, I know it's been debated, is it frame perfect getting into the item or no?
It is, but it's not always. Like if the item is falling onto you, then you would have multiple frames, but because it's on the ground and you only have 1 frame to move, then it is frame perfect. But there are multiple frames where you can grab the item.
Got this way.
Yeah, what Sway's doing here is just using Koops to get the item into a specific spot when he throws it, so that it goes right to the edge of the Ember's boundary, so that
I'm close enough.
You don't have to deal with the Ember getting in your way while you're doing neutral jumps, which are required to get Goombella far away, so you have to jump and move in the air, because if you move on the ground, she's going to follow you. Yes, I think the item timer is around 20 seconds, so you don't really have much time to work with if the item is just sitting there, because you want to keep it in case you fail the trick.
Yeah. So now he has to run away, which is very annoying because he can't actually mash A. He needs to keep the text on screen. So there's a little bit of RNG involved with running away. And now what he's actually going to do is he's able to keep the item on screen forever without it despawning. by basically hitting the save block and collecting the item with Koops at the same time.
Yeah, if Koops is holding an item under certain circumstances, like hitting a save block, it'll just drop the item. And when it does that, it sets the timer on the item to 0. And if the timer's 0, well, the item's out. It just never despawns, so you can just leave it there.
Yeah. And now this is why we actually need the Ultra Hammer. It's because he's going to do 2 charges, then switch to Yoshi in the battle. And basically, when he runs away, Yoshi's going to be out of bounds. And now I'm going to be silent for a bit because this is the important part, and we'll explain the rest after.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh,
Okay,
one frame
well,
early.
the plus side of that is we have more time to explain it. So, the 2 hammer charges are done because with the way partner spawning after battles works is they go behind Mario in which direction he's facing. Usually they set it to one of like 2 values, like left or right, and depending on which way you're facing. So he'll go behind you and it won't really be useful for this. But if you do the hammer charges, you're still spinning while the battle is starting. So Mario faces down if you do 2 charges, because it's different speeds depending on the amount you do. And then Yoshi will spawn behind you, which is in the wall. So, and the reason we want to get him out of bounds is because when you do a Yoshi teleport, which is what this is, you go to his height. So the way that works is the text box, although it's originally made by Goombella, it sets a flag, or it sets a motion value, essentially the same way Mario has motion values, partners also do. And it sets your the motion value to, I think, 20, and that motion value just happens to lead into Yoshi's hover. So if Yoshi is being used, and you close the text box, it'll just bring you into a hover immediately. And by doing that, while he's heading towards you, you'll just go to his height, but at the position you're already at. So you'll be hovering in the air below the ground if he's falling below the ground.
Yeah,
so we want him to just barely, we want him to just barely fell off, and then, yeah, you want to close the text box, frame perfectly, to be just the right height to encounter the ember under the ground, because you can only move left and right when you're in that state of hovering, and the loading zone is away from the camera, like you have to go up to get to it. So you have to, there are 2 ways to do it. You can either get into a battle, or there's something we call encounter list that you can do, and I'll explain that if he gets it, but it's essentially just, if you pause at the right time, you can be at the right height to clip off of Yoshi because of the ground. Like that.
There you go. Let's go.
Perfect.
So we were distracting you a bit at first.
So normally you'd have to get into the encounter in order to deactivate Yoshi and fall into the loading zone. But what Sway did there was he paused the first frame of unspinning, which means that he has the right time, the right positioning of Yoshi to hover just below the ground, and so you'll kind of like, Yoshi will clip up, but Mario won't, and then Mario will just fall off of Yoshi, and then you can just go right into the loading zone. So it saves a bit of time, and you always know when you can get it because it's just paused at the right time.
Yeah, GG.
So, yeah, that was a lot of explaining, but the trick has a lot to it. So
he did so much explaining that Sway had to take off his headphones.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Welcome back. GG. So, pretty much at this point, I don't think there's that much RNG on the last fights, like, that can kill the run. I mean, he's probably still going to safety save just in case, but the rest of the run is really in the clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pal Skip is definitely like an exciting trick to show off. You're building up the entire run just to that one point, and you get to show it off. Encounter is definitely a very cool thing to show off as well.
Yeah, a big reason why the trick is like so difficult is just because that frame perfect hover at the end. Like, you set it all up, get right into the perfect spot, and then you just hit the wrong frame. You got to do it all again. So it's
on US, it's like, even worse.
So like, it is possible to get consistent with it. Like, Sway, did it second try, and that's usually gets the first try. So like, it is possible. It's just, it takes a while. It's a lot of muscle memory.
Yeah. You do need to have like a good form of consistency when running 1,000 your door to get like a good time. And thankfully, Sway is one of those people that also has consistency.
Yeah, it's just like anything else. Just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so Gross is dead.
Also worth noting, you normally use a point slot to get Yoshi into peril, well, by using double dip.
Yeah.
But since I failed to run away and Yoshi just happened to get into peril from the embers, I didn't have to double dip.
Huh.
You're still using it in Shadow Queen though, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to use it later.
Yeah. So the reason we got double dip was because if we have 5 FP, which we kept it at the whole run, then if we use double dip, we can use 2 items. And then it also uses up 4 FP, which puts us down to 1. And then if one of those items is a point swap, you can swap to 1 HP and then get full FP, which isn't really even required for this, but you get 1 HP and you can use 2 items in the same turn while also still having the partner to do damage. So it's like the most overpowered strat. It's just, there's no downside to it. It's crazy.
For the longest time, we never thought to use Yoshi.
I mean, you have to do so much setup for this, and it's like, because you need 5 FP in order to use double dip that way, guaranteed every time.
Yeah, we almost always upgrade FP at least once in the run.
So it's just a lot of like, it was just really like, just, you had to do a lot of creative thinking, like just thinking outside the box, just
Bye,
to
Cammy.
come up with this route. Routing for this game is a challenge, but it's really interesting because there's a lot of things that you wouldn't expect to be fast that are.
You gonna go for the Saber Guard? Nice.
I'm pretty sure super guarding that attack is faster because if you take damage while Mario's in front, Bowser will laugh.
Final level up of the run. What do we level up? HP.
Yeah, we're just giving more defenses to Mario at this point because he's just there to watch and get Yoshi into peril. Really.
Yep. So coming up now is a lot of cutscenes, and I don't know, Saul, if you want to explain the kind of theory, like, of skipping these cutscenes, or like it is.
There is like one potential way. It's like it's pretty theoretical, but it is in theory possible that it could happen. So the way Shadow Queen works, there's like seemingly two fights. One where she's invincible, and then you go through a bunch of cutscenes, and then one where you can actually take her out. But if you somehow take her out in the first fight, when she's invincible, like, when you finish the fight, there's normally a certain cutscene that plays. But if you actually take her out, or somehow run away, or do anything else, finish the fight in any other way, then you will because it checks the way the battle ended, and if it ends in any other way, it plays the cutscenes after the second fight. So you would just go from the first fight all the way to the end of the second fight, and that's a lot of cutscenes, plus the second fight skipped, so that's like 8 minutes. Like, obviously, there's not much to work with because it's a battle, and there's, like, you can't KO her with, like, Showstopper or, you know, Flurry, Gale Force. Like, you can't use that stuff on her, so you need some absurd glitch to do it, but it's just a funny little tidbit there. Yeah, I mean the run's come a long way in the last few years, really. Like even just since Palace Skip, there's been a lot of optimizations in not just any percent, other categories too. Like All Crystal Stars has had some cool stuff, and that's just what it sounds. It's a category where you get all the crystal stars. Actually get them, not when they just like pop up out of the ground.
Yeah.
Also, 100% just went under 8 hours, which is cool. So we just got this like a 7:59. What was it, 33 or something?
Yep.
The other day.
7:59:33.
So there have been some like cool milestones that have been happening outside of any percent lately as well.
Yeah, Glitchful's got sub 6 recently.
Yeah, that too. Which is crazy considering like how with like strats when glitches were allowed like years ago, it was still like what, a 550 with stuff that skipped like half a chapter and things. Like it's crazy how fast glitchless is at this point.
Yeah.
Just shows like how much the community's improved with routing battles and like other things, and movement.
Definitely.
Because movement adds up over over a 6-hour run.
Yeah, sub 8 in Hundo, and sub 6 in Glitchless.
Yeah.
Both pulled off by the same person.
Who also just barely missed out on them in their previous PBs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good thing I didn't have with the sub 220.
Yeah.
Yeah, there also been like really crazy like developments happening kind of behind the scenes in reverse engineering stuff. So like this game's not done. There's definitely more stuff coming. Like I don't know how long it'll take, but there's definitely more advanced glitches that are happening, and any percent could be even crazier in like a year or two, or like, you know, down the line. Who knows? Okay, so finally we're at Shadow Queen.
Back in the got time to get Yoshi back in the peril.
Yeah, so here's the double div strat that we were talking about. And that time, he just used one item because you can do that. You can just hit B and cancel it.
Yep. Also, please do paper mode ending.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh no, Shadow Queen's invincible.
Oh no.
So the good thing is if Yoshi dies here, it's not actually too big of a deal.
Yeah, you get healed anyway between the fights, so.
Ooh, Shadow Queen loves attacking Mario.
Wow.
There's like a little bit of RNG involved here, but it's thankfully like not too big of a deal.
Yeah, we just have Ultra Shrooms for back, like, in case something happens to Mario.
Yeah. Aw, rip Yoshi. This is where, if you were playing on US, you could go for Super Guards.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't do that on this version. And paper mode ending.
Yeah, so he's gonna
no, she healed.
he's gonna hold R here, and Mario's just gonna go into paper mode because there's another frame of movement between the two cutscenes, like between the end of the battle and the cutscene there. So it's kind of another thing where you can just go into paper mode, and because paper mode is one of the things that's preserved through loading zones, Mario is now going to be in paper mode until the end of the game.
Yeah, this run's been really good.
Yeah, I mean, not really any major hiccups. Like, even TRE was like not super
horrible.
Bad. Like, it could have been worse.
Don't worry, pace organizers. This is going to be underestimate.
By quite a bit.
By quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Like, you know, 40 minutes.
But world record's done in the next minute which is
So to the
crazy.
to the next runner that wanted to get a little extra sleep. So right now, all the crystal stars, even though we only got 3, are going to where their original location was, and everyone's wishing Mario luck.
You don't even know most of these people.
Yeah, who the heck is that? Here, I'll
We
give
haven't
you.
even met them.
I'll give you a bless, Sway. There you go. Good luck.
They're
that's
just
me
they're just
helping.
cheering for someone they never met. Like, what's this place? You know
Yeah,
the ruby star?
Yeah.
We got the sapphire star coming up. Like,
What's this ruby star? What's this sapphire star?
Where is this place?
and then you just have some NPCs chilling that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
This is just a result of skipping the whole chapter.
Something looks quite off about this cutscene.
I guess we could have mentioned before too. There's actually a way to skip some of the cutscenes, not here, but at the start. Because the door to Gloomtail's room, if you can get up there, which is possible, it's just task only. But if you can get up there, then enter the room before going to Shadow Queen, it will put you into the cutscene where, Frankly's in the Gloomtail room, and you saw
Oh, I thought you were
Gloomtail in
explaining that
there.
earlier.
No, I didn't explain that earlier. I forgot about it. But
That's what I was referring to when I was saying I'll explain the theoretical thing with skipping the cutscenes.
yeah, but if you get in there to Gloomtail's room before Shadow Queen, then you skip right to the part where Frankly's in there with Gloomtail, because we skipped Gloomtail, and for some reason Gloomtail's just in there if you don't fight him. So that saves about, it's like 2.5 minutes. So if that can be found for RTA, then that would be a nice time save as well.
Definitely. And now it's time for the final battle coming up. The actual final battle.
It's time for Yoshi to shine one last time.
Yep, Yoshi's overpowered. So once again using double dip. And it's funny, usually you want to protect Mario, but in this case we want to protect Yoshi because Yoshi's going to be in peril.
Yeah, so we can use the boost sheet and the point swap in the same turn, and then also do damage. So it's just
It's
the
so
perfect
rad.
combination.
So I believe you have to do ground pound 3 times or something?
I think it's 3 times.
Yeah, like 3 different attacks.
Yeah, one
Sometimes it's
difference
taking a
between ground pound and power bounce is that ground pound always does max 4 hits, whereas power bounce can do, at least like 6
6.
on Shadow Queen, and then more if you get lucky. And also, hit the action commands.
Yeah. And there is a guaranteed shine bingo right here that thankfully Sway can avoid.
Yeah, that bingos can be a problem. Kind of like puts a time limit on the fight.
Oh man, I just realized this is gonna be so close. I think it's just gonna get like a 230.
So we
Great
weren't kidding
run.
when we said Hooktail was the hardest boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really is. GG.
Yep.
So time doesn't actually come up until basically there's a text box with Peach, and then basically the whole like scene just kind of fades away. It's like an Irish wipe. That's when time is.
Yeah, the credits were timed for the longest time, and then we kind of
We
like
took them out.
over time it was kind of like, why are we doing this? And then eventually it was voted to go to keep the epilogue in, because there's like the mashing actually can lose or save you time, and it's still like relevant gameplay in a way.
Also, if you use
So
a
it's
route
kind
that
of
gets
a compromise.
mismoused, that makes the epilogue longer.
Yeah, that too. There's an extra
Oh,
cutscene
yeah.
if you get mismoused. So because of that, we decided, okay, let's just cut it at the start of the credits when it fades. So that was kind of like the compromise. So I guess we have a bit more time to give
Yeah,
shoutouts.
if you
or
wanted
whatever.
to give any closing shoutouts, Sway.
Shoutouts to the GSA staff for having me.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for having all of us on here. It's been fun.
Yeah. Definitely make sure to go to speedrun.com/T2ID if you're interested in learning the game. We have a Discord server. And feel free to ask questions. We're always willing to help out.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah, the
one thing
community's
to note
been-
about paper mode ending is it loses time on Japanese, but it doesn't lose time on any other version.
Yeah. I guess because it waits for you to spin into paper mode. Yeah, the community's been pretty active lately because of the new glitchless category and just,
Yep.
you know, new any % stuff. So it's a good time to
Yeah.
to start running if you want.
Yeah, glitchless is a pretty good category to start with. If you're looking to get into like speedrunning this game but don't want to learn all the glitches.
Yeah, it can be pretty daunting to start with, like something like any %.
Hey, who are those partners right there? Like the the purple ghost, the bomb,
Yeah, who are you guys?
No
That-
idea.
thing with the necklace.
Who are these? What are these things coming with mushrooms? Well, we know Punio, but what's the other one?
Also shouts to, of course, Solidify Gaming here and we're really tall for being two of the most active glitch hunters. They constantly find a bunch of glitches,
Yeah, I mean,
do a bunch of research.
also shoutouts to the reverse engineers that we mentioned before, like Zephyrus, Piston Winer. You know, we also have Jasper, who did some reverse engineering work, as well as
Yeah.
myself. I think it's just the four of us mostly. There are other people who do little work. There are lots of people in the community who who come in just to do like scripting work for the task or like just weird little things, and it's kind of cool to have that kind of collaboration. So, you know, it's not just like speedrunning. There are lots of different skill sets that are valued in our community.
Yeah. And also shouts to Malio, who's done so many tasks of this game.
Yeah, that'll be a cool watch. Should be the first sub 2 hour task, so
Yeah.
just missed it on the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the new teleporter room early, should be at least 10 minutes faster, so
Don't know if you have any remaining shoutouts to give, Sway or Solid.
I mean, I could name off a ton of names, but just shout out to the whole T20 community.
Yeah, like the other runners, glitch hunters, you know, everyone involved in the community. Shouts to Sway for putting on a good show.
Yeah. And pushing this game to the limit the last year.
Oh yeah, it's definitely pushed the game for quite some time.
Sway's just like swept. Like he had all the records for a while, and then Yoshi came in and took one from
I had to break it.
miscellaneous category. But all the main categories, I think Sway still has.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he just did a leaderboard sweep, owns all the world records.
Yeah, Sway's never satisfied with with his run.
So I just kind of came in this community. It was just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna fix this up and get all the world records real quickly. I don't think anyone has owned all like the world records in like Thousand Year Door. I think you were the first. Unless there's someone else.
I mean, there's more categories than ever, so it's even harder.
Yeah, true. Dang, just gonna miss the sub 230, but still great regardless.
Yeah, I'm happy with how this run went.
Yeah.
Still beat my PB. It's out of date.
Here comes time.
And there it is.
GG.
GG.
Great
Great
job.
run. So I hope everybody enjoyed.
Yep.
That was. I know there was a lot to explain and a lot of things going on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
This way.
we did our best to get through it.
Where do people go if they want to see more runs from you?
You go to twitch.tv/SwayNC.
Yeah, it's pretty active in the community. I don't know what he just got sub 220, so I don't know what categories you're doing now, but very constantly streaming Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, if you want more Thousand Year Door content,
Yeah,
Sway's your man.
and be sure to follow the Thousand Year Door the game on Twitch to see a bunch of other runners.
I guess that's all for us.
Yep, that's all.
Yeah, again, thanks to GSA stuff for having us.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
Yep,
Thank you, Yoshi and Solid, for commentating.
No
no
problem.
problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one thing I'd like to show up before
Oh,
signing
that's
off.
right. Oh, that's
So,
right.
like, I guess I should just reset and look.
I guess we have some time since the estimate was like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Longer than that.
Yeah. So. This is like the classic way to end every Thousand Year Door stream.
There it is.
Yeah, so we didn't mention
Trash.
it during file skip, but there's also a trick called sort glitch, where you sort and close the menu at the same time, and that allows you to kind of have a cursor in the sort menu while also having another one in the actual menu. So whenever you hit A, you will sort whatever like place you stored the sort menu. So there he stores the one for the emails, and if you sort an email while like viewing them, I think it's the ones if you sort from that one that doesn't have a picture to one that does, I think is what it is, then it will crash because I think it's not made to handle the picture when you don't have one already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's officially all from us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Continues
Well,
to enjoy pace.
Perfect ending.